Alright, this is a quick video on port forwarding for FileZilla FTP server. This video, I looked on YouTube and everything is just bloat videos for really inexperienced users. I'm going to make this and try to make it less than 3 minutes. I'm not going to go over the install, creating users, or any of that jibba jabba. Just some of the more intricacies of port forwarding for FileZilla. So after you have installed, and here's the server interface right here. After you have installed, you're going to go to the settings here by clicking that little settings button. The listen port you can leave at 21 or you can change it to whatever you want. I'm just going to put this in the notepad right here as listen port 21, just so I remember and you can too. Then the really important settings here are under passive mode settings. You're going to check use custom port range. I'd recommend putting it from 50,000 to 51,000. You can do whatever you want here, but for a home user, if you're not going to be using this for business and not going to have a ton of connections to it, 1,000 ports is more than enough. So 50,000 to 50,001, port forward range, 50,000 to 50,001. And then this is really important. This don't use external IP for local connections. You want that unchecked. So uncheck that. So just to go over that one more time. Notate the listen port. You can change that if you want. Notate the passive mode settings. Create a port range. Uncheck don't use external IP. Click OK. Now you're going to go to your router interface for port forwarding, whether it be Cisco, Juniper. In my case, I have just a Soho DD-Word box. So I'm just going to go to my DD-Word. I'm going to go to NAT QoS. NAT is port forwarding. So here's my FTP port forward. Now this is the singular port forward for the listen port. Now since I left my listen port as default as 21, that's what I'm going to put here. But again, if you want to change your listen port, and you can change it to anything you want, you're just going to have to remember to put that for the port to, because that's the local port. Now the port from can be the same, and this is up to user preference too. Now, the port from is the actual port you're using from the outside to get in, because essentially it's just forwarding the port 2050 that I have over to port 21. I do this for security purposes because, at least from an outside internet perspective, it's a terrible idea to use the default port of 21. You can if you want, but I do not recommend it. So, port from, port to, and then the port forwarding range here, I have 50,000 to 50,001 going to my server that has the FTP server installed on it, which happens to be 192.168.11.135. After you have your port forward for the listen port and your port forwarding range, then you want to hop over to your firewall, the Windows firewall. And pretty simple, just click allow a programmer feature, click allow another program, click browse, browse to your FileZilla server, which is under C, program files, FileZilla server, and it's really important to pick FileZilla server and not FileZilla server interface. And then you're just going to click open. I already have it created, so I'm not going to create it again. You want to check the box for home, private, and public to allow that program. Click OK. And you can use any FTP client to access your server from the outside. I recommend Windows File Explorer because it's built in and extremely simple. So in my case, FTP : FTP server address. Now your FTP server address could be your public facing IP, or if you have dynamic domain name resolution, you can also use that as well. And then it's going to be colon and then the outside port. Now if you remember, I set my outside port as 2050, so I'd put colon 2050, And if I pressed enter with my real address, it would pop up and saying, hey, do you want to log in? Now obviously, I haven't gone over user creation or any advanced settings. This is literally just port forwarding. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave them in the video. Thank you.